Welcome to Toy Hill Studio. My name is Kendall Kessler, and I'm going to do another Center of My Mind painting before I get back to some Skyline Beauty paintings. Last time I separated out the warm and cool colors with a central motif, and this time I thought I'd do a little bit more and try to get a little more interaction by having such a constant switch back and forth between the warm and cool colors. Last time someone said what I did looked like an octopus, and that reminded me of a series that I do called suggestion paintings, because whenever I see a painting that's supposed to be abstract, I tend to see something in it too. So I thought that was interesting. Okay, I want to do the same thing I did last time, having the cool colors try to advance instead of the warm colors. So we're going to try to, with a small brush, kind of stick through here. And last time was a pretty long time, so I'm going to watch my time. I don't want these to be more than like 20 minutes. I can always work off camera. Right now, in my regular stuff, I am real happy with a wildflower painting that I'm doing that I think is really coming along. I mostly do, as I've said before, my own take on impressionism, expressionism of beautiful sights around here, wildflowers, the Blue Ridge, so on. But for these YouTubes, I like to really just do some experiments. So every one of them is really an experiment, even though I'm always making lots of decisions with my other paintings too. Really making decisions with these. And it's fun. It's nice to do different things. I'm very eclectic, as I've said many times. You never know who's watching, so I know I do tend to repeat myself, but there are certain things I really like people to hear. And one of them, if you've watched my stuff, you've heard this before, one of them is, why do artists paint like this? I'm very eclectic. I like it all. And this to me is just as much of art as a super hyper-realistic painting. It's all a matter of decisions, and I do like to explain why artists do this, and just how it is really very much like any other kind of artwork, which I think for a lot of people is hard to understand. Okay, here we go again. We all have personal biases, things we like to see, things we're not so crazy about seeing. Some people love football. Some people love horses. Some people love just looking at people. We all have these biases, things that, because of our personality, just appeals to us more than other things. Okay, when you look at artwork, you bring those biases with you. And when you see artwork like this, you either like it just because of the way the artist put it together, or you don't. But you can't say, well, I like it because it's a horse, don't like it because it's a horse, I like it because it's a football player, don't like it because it's a football player, and so on. And that may be kind of strange, but it's something that people, I think, understand very well in music. This kind of art is music without words, and I think there are a lot of people that hum things, they don't even know the lyrics, and that makes more sense to them. I think in art, for a lot of people, they just don't get this. You know, why don't they just make a really, really hyper-real painting of something? And it's frustrating to those of us that do understand this, that they don't see how it's all very similar, really. It's all a matter of putting shapes together, colors together, textures together. It's all an arrangement. Anyway, all right, enough of that. I think this is going to be very interesting. As I've said before, you can't really see what's going on until you get rid of the white. I remember in school, teachers were always saying, cover the white, because it really is hard to see. Since white is all colors together, it stands out, and it's really hard to see color relationships until you completely cover it. And so I was always kind of surprised that a lot of people like it when there's white in the background. God, it really bothers me very much, but then, we're all different. And this time, instead of just having the one motif, I'm having this large kind of weird shape, and I'm going to have some little shapes, little accent shapes around it in the cool colors, and then I'll start on the warm colors. I have to cups here so that I could switch back and forth without taking a tremendous amount of time, but I think I'd rather just get in all the cool and then do the warm, and then I might go back and forth, who knows. Like I said, I'm very, very experimental with these paintings. And I do want it to bleed, so I need to add more water. As I'm doing this, I am using acrylics. My main medium is oil paint, but I haven't met the medium I don't like. I said that to a lot of people, and it's very true. I think they're all fascinating. I've won awards in oil paint and soft pastels. Those are the two I like the best. I think I've won awards in other ones too. Oh yeah, oil pastels too. Oil pastels are fascinating. If you've done any artwork and you have done oil pastels, you probably know what I'm talking about there. It's just, it's hard to describe. There's just so many wonderful things you can do with it and go back into it and modify it, and the effect is so strong like oil paints. And I haven't done any of them in a long time because I prefer doing oil more than anything. As I'm pretty sure I've said this before, you don't have to put it under glass. And that's what I really dislike about soft pastels and oil pastels. You really have to protect them under glass. And I don't care what kind of glass you get, non-glare, whatever. To me, it's just so different than having it right open to the air. And oil paints are great for, they last forever. They're extremely durable. It's just, to me, the greatest medium. But I do like them all. I also have done a lot of printmaking, lithography. I don't do that anymore. Lithography press costs about as much as a car, and they're huge, and I just have never been that excited about it. But I do have a lot of prints. If you go to my website, you're going to just see all kinds of stuff. I certainly am the very definition of eclectic when it comes to mediums. I just do them all. And really think some of my lithographs are very strong, and some of them are not hyper real, but they're very representational. And whenever I have someone come in my studio and they're not really into impressionism and they want something to look real, I pull out my lithographs and I go, oh yeah, okay. It's more what they like. Oh well, art is a very difficult thing to explain to people, but I love it. And I really do live to paint and to get it out to people. And I never thought I'd live to see the day that you could buy face masks of my stuff. The company that handles my prints is now offering face masks. I thought, wow, you can get my stuff on anything. I mostly sell originals and wall art prints, but you can get it on anything. And now you can get it on a face mask. And it's kind of tricky to find some of them. What you have to do is click on anything, wall art, print, or whatever, and then go underneath the painting, and there's something that says more selections or more collection or something. And then you'll see all kinds of other things, and that's where the face masks are. I'm going to put a link at the top of this video in case you're interested. Such a weird time we're living in now. It's so sad, so difficult. The only thing I can say is I'm getting a lot more done, and that's certainly not a reason to have this horrible situation, but for the first time in many years I'm actually straightening out my studio. I never thought I'd see the day because my time is so limited. I'm working on the computer all the time promoting my stuff that it's either work on the artwork or clean up, and I don't want to clean up, I'd rather work. Okay, now I'm going to get working on use the other cup here and get rid of this cup that's got real dirty, cool colors, and work on the background. We artists tend to call this the positive and negative areas. And it's not that one's better than the other. It's just anytime you put down a shape on a piece of paper, then you make a shape out of what's left. So the shapes that I put down have created these shapes in the background. And probably have to go back in this to do that thing I was talking about, how artists can make the cool colors come forward even though they're supposed to recede because of their lower wavelengths. But artists can do that. Now it's, oh good, I was hoping I could just get right in there. And I'm not going to worry about the edges because I really want these colors to interact. That's, oh, I'm starting to get just what I want. I want them to really interact. I'm going to use a very warm green in there too. and just to see that beautiful warm-cool relationship, which is what most artists just really get into. We just really love the way they vibrate and interact. It is one of the reasons I think so many people love Impressionism, where the artists were trying to capture that effect in nature. And it's all around you. The average person, I don't think, realizes that, but everywhere you look, you're seeing warm and cool colors together. It's just that the warm colors are much stronger than the cool colors. So most people aren't looking at someone's face and seeing the purple in the shadows, but I am. It's not exactly purple. What it is it's violet mixed in with the warm colors, so you don't really perceive it that well. It's there. And as any portrait artist knows, and I've done a lot of portraits, that if you don't put the cool colors in the shadows, then it doesn't look right, and it looks kind of deathly. You have to have warm and cool colors everywhere when you're working on people. And I'm real pleased with the success that I've had. I've never had anybody say that they didn't like the portrait that I did for them. I have had people say, "You don't charge enough." That was nice. But I do now. Yeah, there was a time when I was pretty much giving it away. Not anymore. I have worked very hard at this. I have an advanced degree. I taught at a university for 20 years. You know, come on. I need to definitely charge people for what I do, just like doctors and everybody else that has spent a long time working at what they do. I have been working at my artwork since pretty much since I can remember. It was just so important to me as a child. And then in high school, I spent hours working at oil painting. And then college, got my degree, and taught at Radford University for 20 years, and tried real hard to explain art to people. And that was real important to me because I mostly taught art appreciation. And those are students that just had to take the class. And a lot of them were like, art wasn't their thing, they didn't understand it. And I worked real hard at explaining to them. And I think I had a lot of success, a lot of compliments. I had students actually write on their exam how much they liked the class. Got very high evaluations. Wow, this is starting to really get interesting. I'm starting to really like it. I'm probably going to go back into the cool colors, though, to make them stand out more. But the warm colors are starting to really do something. So get rid of that white, then you really have something, in my opinion. I think there are a lot of people like to buy artwork where it's about white background. There are a lot of artists selling skyline paintings with white backgrounds. And I have some like that because I think people respond to that. But mostly what I do is I'll do a skyline and leave some white and have prints like of that one available, and then go back into the way I like and get rid of all that white. So both are available. And the one that's available for sale is the one that's the white's all gone. But it's so interesting how people react to artwork. It's always been fascinating to me. I've always loved watching people's reactions. I've said this before, I know, and it's something that we artists really like to say to people because so many people don't even ever go to galleries and they're just not interested. Especially, I think they're overwhelmed because there's so much art there. Well, we just say go through there on roller skates. And of course we don't really mean that because I'm sure they throw you out. But what we mean is there's certain art that's going to appeal to you because you have something in common with the person that did it. There's something in your personality that relates to the personality of the person that did it. And just go through real quick, find those, and then leave. I think it just really amazes me how some people think it's such a laborious thing and they gotta look at each one and know everything. Oh God. I don't even do that, and I love art. I go through on roller skates and I find the stuff I really love because even though I'm very eclectic, there are some things I like more than others. I want to get some more green in that background. And then I haven't been going that long, so I think I might go back into the cool colors and do what I said, try to get them to stand out now, because I think right now the warm colors are really advancing, which is okay. I just think it's fun to make cool colors come out, and I think that was the strong thing in the last one. I thought that was very nice that they really stood out. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the other water I'm not going to take the time to change it because then the YouTube's going to be too long. So I'm just going to go back to it and see if I can't take up the value, lightness and darkness of it, and maybe do a little more. Now I might change my mind if it doesn't mesh the way I want it to do. So far it's doing real good. I really like that. I do want the colors to mesh together and not be real separate. So let's see what I can do here with the blues. Yeah. Really pull them out a little more. Oh yeah, I think it's coming along real nice. You never know how these are going to go. Yeah, it's quite an experience to be talking and painting at the same time. Something I never do when I'm painting on my mountainscapes and my flowers and whatever, still life. I don't even turn music on because I have to concentrate so much. And I'm concentrating now, but these are so experimental that I feel like I can talk at the same time. Okay. That didn't work. Mainly I'm just taking a lot of those colors again and adding white so that they'll stand out a little more. And this time I'm not using my light. Last time I noticed there was quite a hot spot. I cannot figure out how to get that light on and get it on in such a way that it doesn't create a hot spot. If I put it behind me, there's going to be a shadow. If I put it to the side, I get a hot spot. So the light in here is good. I have daylight fluorescent lights, which is really good. You can really see it. No, that's not what I wanted. Should be able to see the colors fairly well, and of course at the end I always have a link to the finished one where the colors have been adjusted to be accurate. I don't know how to do that with my camera or with YouTube. They used to have YouTube for that and they took it away, but I don't really know how. Now I don't want to do too much where I'm starting to lose that mesh and area. I was having a lot of success with the blue, so I think I'll go back and do a little more of that. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I like that better. Oh yes, it's starting to get a little more of a vibrant effect, if you can see it. Like I said, the colors are not accurate or anything, but it's starting to get a little more of a vibrancy going there. And there's some areas down low where I really feel like they just didn't come out quite right, so I definitely want to do that there too. And like I said, again, I don't want the colors to just start separating out like a puzzle or anything. I want them to mesh. Yeah, that's a lot better. That area in there really, really needed it. So I'm just going to go through and do a little more with the cool colors, and I may go back into the whole thing. I don't know. I'm going to take a real high blue-green over here. Take it way up high. And see what happens. See if it doesn't... Well, yeah, brings it out more. Yeah, I always like going back where I was because then it'll mesh some. Yeah. As I said, probably pretty much ad nauseum. I like really complicated paintings. I don't like just a few colors. And I don't like a few brush strokes, a few textures. I like them to get complicated. And even in these experimental ones for YouTube, I still want to get pretty complicated. But I notice that I tend to leave them. And I always say I may work off my camera, I may do a whole lot more, I may not. I'm more and more just tending to leave them. I think these expressions are coming out pretty nice. And usually there's like one little thing, and I think, oh, I'm going to work on that. Nah, no. Turns out that I don't do that. Okay, I really want to take this one up. Yeah. That one's definitely kind of sinking into the warm colors. And do more down here. Yeah, I'm starting to like it. As always, prints will be available. This is real cheap paint and real super cheap paper, which I've noticed tends to bleed better lots of times than the good paper. And I don't sell that, but you can get archival great prints of my work there are a lot for sale that is very good. Paper or canvas and paint. But these are experimental, and I'm doing so many of them, I'd rather just play and not use the really good stuff. Okay, I think I'm just about done. And like I said, I'm going to put a link to masks of my stuff if you're interested. It's a very different thing. And of course there will be a link to this painting too. And it's always been interesting. I hope that you appreciate what I'm doing. I hope you learn a little something about art. I always want to preach art. The thing that really bothers me, and I really hate this and I hate to say it, but a lot of people that have such definite ideas of art and are just don't understand why artists do this and do that, they won't even let me explain it. They won't even let me try. They just cut you off when you try. And that's really sad, because and, you know, because you don't understand something doesn't mean there's nothing there to understand. And that may sound a little bit mean, but it really is true. I mean, there's a lot of things about physics I don't understand, but I sure as heck don't go to a physicist and say, you don't know what you're talking about. But people are really like that when it comes to art, and I think that's sad. But not everybody. And I think more and more people are understanding it and appreciating it. All right, thank you for watching. Links to this a link to this painting and links to my artwork on Etsy and my website, so forth, are in the description.